One, and welcome to the beginning of our 2021 Cinema for the Culture screening series, a signature event of the African Film and Arts Foundation. My name is Mojisada Shinoiki, and I'm the founder of the African Film and Arts Foundation. This time last year was the inaugural launch of the Cinema for the Culture series in partnership with Plaza Theatre in Midtown Atlanta. But unfortunately, because of COVID, because of the Rona, because of Koro, we have to do everything online now. So it was exactly this time last year that we actually launched this, the exact same day. The African Film and Arts Foundation, Inc. is a non-profit 501c3 media arts organization whose mission is to magnify and celebrate the visions, voices, lives, and stories of people from Africa and the African diaspora. We aim to be at the center of networking between African and American content creators, buyers, and distribution platforms. For our February screenings, we are celebrating Black History Month by screening the film, The Ghost and the House of Truth, directed by Akin Omotosho, starring Susan Wokoma, Kate Henshaw, Fabian Adeoye Lojode, Tope Tegala, Sheung Ajayi, and Kemi Lala Akindoju. I love Kemi Lala. Our live discussion today is with producer extraordinaire Ego Boyo and fitness enthusiast and cinematographer Kabelo Thathe. Now, brief introductions to our guests. Ego Boyo is a powerhouse in the Nollywood film industry. She's an actress and movie producer, popular for her role in the 80s Nigerian soap Checkmate. She's founder of Temple Productions and Temple Studios, based in Lagos, Nigeria, and has produced several Nollywood hits, including Violated, which she also starred in, written and directed by Nollywood icon Amaka Igwe, 30 Days starring Genevieve Naji, and directed by Mildred Oko, and a Hotel Called Memory, an experimental silent movie directed by Akin Omotosho. So welcome, Ego. Nwaka Ego.
Hi.
I love your name.
Hi, Moji. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here and accepting our invite. Our next special guest is Kabelo Thathe. He's an experienced cinematographer and all-round fitness buff. His cinematography credits include several South African TV series, including My Kitchen Rules South Africa, 90, Clean Street, and MTV Sugar Down South. MTV Sugar, the Kenyan edition, is the show that launched Lupita Nyong'o's career as an actress. He has several films on Netflix, including Seriously Single and Akin Omotosho's Via. The Ghost and the House of Truth is the second feature film that him and Akin have worked on. That's correct, right? It's the second one?
That is correct.
Okay. Welcome, Kabelo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I hope I can answer all your questions.
You ain't got no choice. And finally, our moderator for this evening is Osei Kweku, an international on-air talent at the #1 radio station in Atlanta, Georgia, V103. He's also the creator of V103 International, the only station in the United States that has an active partnership with other radio stations in Africa, with a hyper focus in Nigeria, the Beat 99.9, as well as the UK. So thank you and welcome, Osei. And thank all our guests for being here.
Thank you. We thank you.
So I will hand you over to Osei now, who will kick off the question and answer session. I will come off camera and return at the end to get questions from our audience and maybe questions from me as well. So have fun and I'll see you in a bit.
Nice. Well, thank you all for joining us, especially on this particular day here in the States, the end of Black History Month, as we go into Women's History Month. And I thought the film, The Ghost in the House of Truth, was really, really well done, really moving, and touched on a number of things that I think may shock a lot of people who aren't as familiar with African films that are, in my opinion, these films, particularly The Ghost in the House of Truth, would appeal on a global scale. So you all really did a great job with that film. And I wanted to understand, what was the motivation behind producing that particular film? Why?
Yeah. Motivation for producing, thank you for having me, as I said to Moji, and I'm happy that the film is being well, not spotlighted, but is part of Black History Month. The really was that I wanted to have another opportunity to work with Aki. Aki and I had worked on, Aki Omotosho is a director. We'd worked on an experimental film, a hotel called Memory. And after we finished that project, we had a project prior to that, which didn't take off. You know how that is in film when it comes to filmmaking. And so we're looking for another project to work on. So when he brought the script to me, I read it and I really liked it. I liked it because it was very well written and the parts were also very, very clearly defined. And it was also interesting because it was, it bordered on empathy and understanding, from another person's point of view when something serious, something as, I guess everybody has seen the film, when something as tragic as that happens, how we're able to, deal with it. And also how we're able to, in this case, rise above it if possible. Now, if you've watched the film, you'll know that she didn't quite rise above it. But it was very intriguing because I've always wondered what pushes people to do the things that they do. And if we can, we should all empathize because it could happen to anybody else. So that was for me, reading the script, I just kept thinking, oh my God, this woman, this is the worst thing that can ever happen to a woman, a mother. And then how does she deal with it? Do I judge her for how she dealt with it? Or can I understand? Or does it only, are we only able, and I remember something Aki said, he said, is it that our empathy is only able to be expressed when it is something that affects us directly? Or are we able to see from another's point of view? So it was all of those things. And then after we decided, okay, we're going to do this, and there were a few tweaks and changes, it was then a case of just looking at the circumstances, in Nigeria, where people disappear. And what happens? Do we ever find them? Do we ever know what happens to them? This one sort of ended, in terms of, it was neat. There was a neatness to it because the mother had a level of closure. She found out what had happened to her child, though it was tragic. But in our situation in Nigeria, this happens quite a lot. And the outcome is not always as neat. So it was all of those things, that, were what attracted me to the film and why I wanted to produce it.
Yeah, I thought the story was definitely, it was concise, 60 minutes.
Yes.
In essence, really, the film rolled. It really, it rolled. I thought, Kabelo, with the cinematography, man, there was some really, some moving shots of Lagos. Was everything shot? It was all shot in Lagos?
Yeah, it was all shot in Lagos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How for you in terms of determining, different scenes, or how did you all come together in terms of determining what you all felt was a fit?
Yeah. I think, for me, it's always important as a director of photography to really be close to your director, you know what I mean? And understand fully his vision or his or her vision and what they're trying to portray. And it's also important to understand the story and what the story is, what it's meant to leave the people with. So Akin and I have a very close relationship in terms of work. Also, we like to get into it together, from the get-go and literally pick each other's brains. I mean, we had gone to Nigeria to location scout for the film. I think it was 2016, actually. And that's 2 years before we did the film, and just after going to Nigeria, and it being so texture filled. I mean, you could point the camera in a lot of places in Nigeria and come out with a really, cool frame. Obviously with some, you gotta know how to do it, you know what I mean? But yeah, and with Nigeria being so texture filled, I think Akin and I always knew that we wanted to capture these textures of Nigeria and what we really liked about Nigeria, and location is always very important for us because essentially that's the stage for the story to be told, you know what I mean? So yeah, so the locations were very important and our choice of locations were very important, and not trying to run away from, you know, where we wanted to go. And as difficult as it might have been, you know, to shoot in some of these locations, and man, some of the most challenging, some of the most challenging stuff I've ever done in my, as a cinematographer in my career. But I always welcome that, you know, with open arms, because, you know, it just builds you, and it opens up your mind to a different way of thinking. You know, how do I get this without having this, and still want to tell, you know, the same story? So yeah, yeah, man, we just wanted to capture those textures, and Lagos is an amazing place, you know.
It is. It has, like, as you both mentioned. I mean, I think the grittiness of Lagos, I mean, it just resonated off the screen. One of the scenes, and you know, I don't want to give any spoilers because I know I can really go deep in this. You know, Ego, I thought the one scene where the boats almost collide, and it was kind of an aerial. I was like, wow. I know that took some real coordinating to pull off. You know, in essence. It just looked like, you know, scenes like that really just stood out to me. And I wanted to ask you, Ego, too, about the financing of films like, you know, this. I mean, how did you bring this magic together?
Well, that was a difficult one. It's always tricky getting the financing. And I mean, little known fact was that one of, in the end, it ended up being private financing, which was what, where I like to go anyway. But we did lose one of our financiers in just before we started the film. So as I said, little known fact, but it was very challenging. I think in that sense, for me, that was one of the most challenging, to have on paper that this is what is going to happen. And then, you know, days to starting, the rug is sort of pulled out from under you. So it was literally running around, for me, running around, making sure that Akin, Kabelo, all the guys, are fantastic cast and crew, kept going because the money was flowing. It had to, for us to be able to do anything. I mean, if you've shot in Lagos, you know that there's literally almost every day where money has got to change hands. So that was, you know, it was important for me to just get on it and just get it done. So it was challenging in that sense. Financing for films like this typically come from either private investors, well, in Nigeria, or in some cases, people have had received grants, which the government has set up. So it's a variety of places. But for me, I've always been quite lucky with, you know, private investors, people that are willing to invest privately in my films. So that was how that came together. But I wanted to talk about something you mentioned, and I'm sure Kabelo will pick up on that. The scene where you said took a lot of coordination, the scene on the boats. I wasn't there, but I've listened to all the conversation around it. And Akin was very, you know, he went into a lot of depth on this same platform last year. And that was purely, yes, I think it was purely chance, right, Kabelo? You know, we don't, the budgets are not that large where we can say, okay, look, let's reshoot, let's do another shoot. It's really, you know, time and chance. You have your camera stationed, you're ready, they're shooting, and this occurs. So it wasn't like it was exactly coordinated and planned, that particular scene where the canoes collided. It was the case of you're on a narrow canal, you have these two vessels trying to pass one another, and sometimes these happy accidents happen. So I think that's what happened. But I mean, Kabelo, who was shooting, will be able to give more detail.
Yeah, so again, I don't know if anyone has been to Makoko, right?
You have to experience it.
I mean, to be honest with you, even if you had a big budget, just coordinating all of that and making the people understand what you're trying to do would have been, it's still a tough job to do, whether you got the money or not, you know? So I think it shows a great sort of collaboration through the whole team, from our locations guy, Imole, and just so we know what we want. So it's coordinated in that regard, that we know what we want. But the outcome of it is literally, it's out of our hands. So
chance.
so it's really chance. So everything, and when something happens for chance, it just means that you need to be ready for whatever happens, so you get it. So you're ready in that regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that scene actually is I don't even think we did like 2 takes of that scene. We might have done 2 or 3 takes, but each take is different. Each take is different, and which goes back to, you know, when we were planning for this film, we wanted to capture the life of, you know, the energy of wherever we were shooting. So we never wanted it to be, oh, listen, you know, cue that and cue that, because you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss the realness of it, you know, if you start doing that. So it was just a matter of us being ready for, you know, whatever came our way. And it just so happened that, you know, that scene, that particular shot happened perfectly. The drone was ready, the other camera was ready, and we were good to go, you know? Because that's how you're at the mercy of the location at Makoko. You really can, like, no planning in the world will get you ready for that, you know? And I mean, on that point, there's a scene where Fabian and Kate are walking, to his house to go see that, you'll search the house, make sure there's no one there. I remember that scene. There was an unrehearsed scene. All we did the day before, we walked it by ourselves without cameras, just to see, okay, this is how it's like. Oh, and this is the kind of lighting we want. And then went back on the day that we knew that light was perfect. And we rolled that camera and we walked it. And because we did that, I mean, in that scene, no one actually, by the time people realize that I've got a camera in my hand, they back there already. And so we're done. So you capture this realism that, you know, I think it's unmatched. And I think we did a really great job, you know, in just capturing the textures and the vibe of the locations without giving it away. Because, the people in Makoko don't care about your film. Okay, they want, where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? What's going on? You know, so so timing, everyone being where they need to be at the right time, and just knowing what we want from that shot, you know.
I mean, it was just like the universe coordinated that, and that was one of those scenes that really just resonated with me. And, you know, even watching Inspector Stainless with the young girl, you know, rowing her boat for her, you know, I mean, the canoe, it was just, you know, it's the subtleties like that I think, you know, everybody can relate to, and everybody, no matter where you're from, you know, it's going to resonate. One of the themes that I thought was really different to, you know, that was brought out in terms of just abuse, you know, sexual abuse, child abuse. And it was a theme that perhaps may not get as much conversation in African films, but you all really put it out there. You know, I wanted to understand from you, Ego, you know, why you felt it was important. Where were you going with it? Because you captured a lot in 60 minutes. And then for you, Kabelo, how you were able to just, you know, there were just scenes that, you know, were really heart-wrenching. You know what I mean? You really did a great job of capturing that. But I wanted to start with you, Ego, in terms of just why that theme, you know, it seemed like it was something that consistently was just really discussed. And I think that, you know, if we were in another setting, we could talk a lot more about, because we've seen different things with Boko Haram and just things, abuses that we've heard on a global scale, and even with SARS. You know, I liked Inspector Stainless. I call her Inspector Stainless. I thought that was a really sharp line. But, you know, it was things that for myself, just watching this, I said, man, this film could be shown anywhere and you're going to appreciate it. So I wanted you to kind of expand on that, if you don't mind.
That is exactly what I felt when I was reading the script. When I read the script, I just thought, my goodness, this is what happens. As you said, it would resonate with anyone, anywhere, because it happens all over the world. And for us in Nigeria, it's becoming such a huge conversation. But although that conversation is happening, it's still happening with a great deal of discomfort for a lot of people. And it's not a subject that people like to, you know, indulge in. And so when I read the script and I saw what the story was about, it resonated, because at the same time, that conversation was being amplified in Nigeria. There were so many stories coming out on social media. As you said, we had all the situation with the girls being kidnapped, and all some of them emerging with being pregnant afterwards, some never being found. And it's just something that is a topic that we, though uncomfortable, we have to deal with. So when, as I said, when Akin brought that script to me and I read it and we talked it through, it was just important to me that we dealt with that topic, because yes, it's uncomfortable, but it's very real. It's what is happening all over the world. Young girls are being, assaulted, young girls and boys, and girls are being trafficked, and there's just so much conversation. But as you said, we dealt with it very quickly in that 60 minutes, but it's something that was, hopefully become a part of a bigger conversation about that subject, So it was important. It's a dark film, and it's a dark subject, but it's one of those things where we must talk about it. It's important that we keep talking about it so that there can be solutions and we can find ways to, create real help for people that are, that experience this, children that experience this, and their families. Yeah.
Yeah, it brought the humanity to the film, indeed. And I think, Kabelo, the way you captured those scenes, there were some really, some riveting scenes that I felt like, wow, you did an excellent job of kind of just, of translating it, even in moments where you might have thought with a film like this, it could have gone longer, but, it was concise and, it really hit. So for you, what was the interpretation, or say the translation of that like?
Yeah, so my style, I'm a very big fan of classical cinematography, just classic cinematography, no gimmicks, just powerful framing, light that tells the story, and helps amplify the story, and the story deals with some dark issues, man, so, that also then allowed me, from a creative point of view, to push it a little more, I mean, we have that scene where they're in the prison, and Susan Bola's characters with the mom, with the guy who killed her son. And I mean, that scene, when I was talking to our gaffer, Christian Epps, we already knew that we wanted that scene to be dramatic, and that's where sort of everything comes into play. So the location that we chose allowed us to do that, because we were like, how do we shoot this differently? Because, usually when you're in an interrogation room setup, it's that normal, there's a top light, which had that sort of pool of light coming on the table. And we're like, okay, that's overdone. And people have done it a million times. What can we do? And we just opted to go for a very strong source light from the middle window, that literally leaves a lot of dark spaces in the room. And it makes you feel some type of way, because we're dealing with some, like I'm saying, some dark issues here, and some moments need to be amplified like that, Yeah. So it was great also to be able to push the medium, especially in terms of lighting, and not. So we stayed away from it being very flat, because the issue is not flat. It's a deep issue, and we need to sort of portray it in a deep way. And I think that also comes into our choice of lensing. We opted to go for tilt shift lenses because we wanna catch your attention, and we want you to be like, oh, what's good? This is interesting. And secondly, tilt shift lenses, what they do is sort of they separate the focal planes of the whole frame, where the defocus and the fallout goes. And what we loved about the tilt shift lenses is that we always kept the people's eyes sharp in focus, because we believe that, the eyes are the windows to your soul. It doesn't matter what you're saying. Sometimes I can just look straight into your eyes and know how you feel, So it was things like that, and very, very emotional framing that's not gimmicky, like the scene where Bola comes, and I think Kate August Stainless is about to break the news to her that her child died. I mean, that framing is it's actually one of my most favorite scenes, because the way we framed it, you know, it's Kate in the foreground here, and the tilt shift lens is separated the image, and you see Susan coming from a distance. Like if I had to show you that frame, you already know that something is about to happen here, just from the framing, you know. So I'm not a big fan of sort of camera movements and all of that taken away from the story, because for me, I think sometimes as cinematographers, we get so caught up in trying to make the shot cool, and we're forgetting that the basis for me of filmmaking is the story. The story is what we're here to tell, and what we're here to amplify. So I gotta get my DOP ego out the way. I was like, oh, I want to do this 360 shot around here, but why? That's distracting. You don't need to do that for this. It's such a powerful moment. Give them the beautiful frame, give them the beautiful light, and let the story tell itself and live in this frame. So, yeah.
I want to commend the acting was also very, very. I mean, I loved it. I thought, I think you all have raised the bar with this film, and I think that a lot of people will be able to say, "Wow, you know, it's just impressive." And you know, I think the discovery that's taking place on the continent now is really appropriate, particularly post the year of return and coming through this pandemic. I ask a lot of these questions because Atlanta is a place where, you know, just for what Atlanta is and even what it is in the global marketplace, there's a lot of creatives that are here. And, you know, I would ask you all, what words of encouragement would you offer to them, aspiring filmmakers that are doing their thing and looking to create the magic that you all have been able to create, and knowing that there are trials that come with, you know, creation, meaning that the budgeting sometimes, you know, you run into things behind the scenes that aren't as smooth. And even for you all to have a product that's as great as this, understanding that, you know, hey, you know, things do occur, but how do you persevere and push through those things? What would you all say to that?
I mean, I would say yes. I would just say push through. If this is what you really want to do, if this is where your passion lies, just keep pushing. There's going to be things that will work and some that will not work. I mean, as filmmakers, we've started lots of different projects, and sometimes they don't work out, but sometimes it's also a case of timing. So just keep pushing, keep doing what you feel in your gut, you know, what you feel in your heart about the film, the book, the music, whatever it is, you know, just keep pushing. And, you know, just keep, if it comes from a very real place, an authentic place, then it will work. It will work for you. It will. Just keep pushing is what I'll say. Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna actually echo what Ego's saying. I think it's always, for filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers, it's always important to remember that there is no blueprint for filmmaking. So no one should tell you, oh, this is how you should have told your story. Again, like how Ego's saying, you will know. And if you feel it, you know, and it feels right to you, and you know you've got a plan on what you want to show people and what you want to put on the screen, you know, it'll come out. And because it's such an honest representation of how you feel, you know what I mean? As soon as you start trying to, oh, I'm going to do what he did on that. Yeah, but that's that film. This is not your film. What do you want to do on this one, you know? So I think, yeah, man, there's no blueprint. So if you feel it and you feel strongly about it, put it on the screen. And also try surround yourself with like-minded people that inspire you also, because, you know, there is no bad idea. There is no bad idea. And as soon as you start being around people who are very quick to tell you why it's not going to work, those are not people for you. You know, I mean, we went and shot this, you know, I mean, when there's a lot of people that when I tell them our experiences from Nigeria, they'd be like, how did you even do that? I mean, exactly. So it would have been easy for us. Or when we said we want to go to Makoko, a lot of people were like, y'all are nuts. Yeah. And we were like, yeah, well, that's where we want to go. And that's where we're going to go. And we went and we did it. And the proof is in the pudding. So,
what do you all see as the future for Africa, African cinematography, African films, the crossover appeal? It seems like, I mean, you know, you all have had experiences, I'm sure, working for you, Ego, both in front and behind the camera. You know, I know as well, my brother, you've worked with Lupita and seen some talent that has gone on to do some other things. Where do you feel like that's at right now, just with the overall film industry and how it appeals to the Western market?
I think they're looking for, something different, and that is what we have to offer. Where we have such great stories, we have such great people, we have such vibrant film industries, and have had for years, and now the rest of the world is finally catching up to us. I think we've always been ready. They just had to be ready. So now they're ready and they can see what we have, which we've always had. And I just think it's going to be, going up. It's a fantastic, it's a fantastic industry. We're doing such great things across the continent. People are telling real stories, real African stories, not the stories that people necessarily want us to tell, but the stories that we feel we want to tell. We want to represent Africa in this way, not the way you want to see it, but the way we want to show you. So I think it's, I think it's going to be great. It is great already. It's going to be even greater. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Africa's it's blowing up, man. Africa's on the up and up. And like Ego was saying, the world is now starting to take note of Africa. You've got so many international companies that are going out now into Africa to shoot in Africa and, tell those stories. Because one, Africa has 1,000,001 stories, untold stories. Africa is lush with like just beautiful. It's just, you look at it and Africa's beautiful. Africa is absolutely stunning. And it's a no-brainer why the world would, realize that they've been sleeping on Africa a little bit. And the industry is gonna go up and up. And I can just tell you from working in Nigeria, and I just got back now, end of last year, to shoot another film in Nigeria. I mean, there's some hard workers, yo. They work hard out there. Like, they just keep going. They keep going. I'm not even gonna lie. There were times I was like, can we slow down? And these cats are ready to go. They know what they want and they're willing to go out there and just do it. And like Nigeria has such amazing DOPs, even the last film I went to go shoot there, I was jokingly saying, why'd you guys call me out here? There's like, a million dope cinematographers out here. Of course, don't tell them that now because I still need the job, Yeah, I gotta pay the bills. But yeah, man, it's on the up and up. And I think, this is literally the tip of the iceberg. I think it's gonna go.
Salute you both, and thank you. I know Moji. Last thing I'll say is I love the music at the beginning, and I think the fusion,
epic, right? Oof.
Film and music coming together now for Africa is what's going to elevate us. So, with that said, much respect and continued blessings on this journey to you both.
Thank you so much, Jose. Thank you. It was lovely talking to you.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to piggyback off of was something Kabelo said about what is the reason why a lot of big productions that happen in Nigeria, they go outside to bring people. I mean, this is 2021. Why that's still being done? Why do you think that's still happening in a place like Nigeria?
I mean, I don't know individually, I guess people have to answer that question. As Kabelo said, we have some great cinematographers. I've worked with some of them. But for me, one of the key things is that when I have a director, I leave that over to that director to make that decision. That is his creative decision. And Kabelo and Aki had worked so well together, and they had worked so well together on Via. And, they wanted to work again. This is like me. I'm also into those, when you build a chemistry with somebody, when somebody gets your work, you want to work with them again.
Yes.
So same thing with Aki and I. This is our second project, third, but second that has actually, come to fruition together. So I understand that. So in some regards, people have worked with a cinematographer from somewhere else, and it's been an excellent relationship, and you want to go with it. Also, I think it depends on the individual, and it depends on the production. So I won't speak for everybody else. I just wanted to speak for myself. Yeah. I don't know if Kabelo has any thoughts about that. I mean, these words.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, I mean, so like you're saying, Akin and I, we always want to exploit a good working relationship, you know?
Yeah.
So Akin and I are now like, what, three features in, you know, we're busy on our fourth one. And again, it's like how I was saying, you know, find someone that vibes with you. So when you go to the people, you've got this idea, they're not, you know, they're like, yes, it's only not going to work once we fail doing it. Then we know, oh, that wasn't going to work. But until then, you know, you want someone who can just inspire you to keep working hard. And the relationship with DOPs and directors is a very intimate relationship, you know, where I think in our regard, it was not necessarily about taking a DOP from South Africa. You know, it was that Akin was a director, and he's like, I want to bring my mans so we can, you know, because he knows, you know, when he says this, you know, and we've got, you know, we've learned, we've got a process that we do that works, and it resonates on the screen. You can see it on the screen once it happens, you know.
Yeah. So, Ego, you were talking about how when you read the script, that's what pulled you in. So, so in terms of the script itself, do you know how the writers came about the story? Because I see that there are 3 different writers, correct?
Yeah. From what Akin told me, it was part of a festival or something? And they had paired with directors. I mean, I don't know what their motivation is in terms of why they wrote this particular script. But yeah, I mean, it was just a script that was just very well written. And it was actually initially set in South Africa.
And I was going to ask that because it was non-Nigerians that wrote it.
Yeah, but we adapted it for our own purposes. And that's where what Osei mentioned about this film could be from anywhere in the world and it would resonate because it's a subject that everybody can identify or empathize with, you know, the fact that this woman's job was to bring people together, reconciliation. And then this sort of thing happens to her and then it calls all her training, every single thing she's learned on the job, is now put on the line. And it's something that people can, you know, you would watch this or you would make this film in another country and it would still resonate. They would still understand it and it would appeal. So for me, that's what I saw. I read it and, you know, it just appealed to me. Yeah, I don't know what their own particular motive was.
Okay. A question from the audience. Any memorable moments from making the film? Starting with you, Kabelo.
Me? Kabelo, okay, Kabelo, yes. Start with Kabelo.
Yeah, wow. Think
of one thing that you would never forget happened.
Actually, very memorable moments. So the girl who's on the canoe, who's helping Kate, with just that look on her face. I mean, yo, that girl is just so intense. She actually lives in Makoko. We found her while
I said that, yes.
Yeah, so we found her while we were on the location scout because she was like manning this huge canoe and just so poised and just doing it. And I mean, so we used her for the film and she was just so great. Didn't say a lot, just took direction well. So like, yo, we need you to do this, this, this. And she did it. And to have such a young girl in that space, in that area, you know, I think speaks a lot to, you know, the strength of our African people, man, you know, and in particular, Black African women, you know, she really, the way she just carried herself, you know, and that intense look on her face and her eyes tell a story, you know, I'm sure she's got a million stories to tell, that girl, literally. And so that was one of my most special moments, actually, because she was never a problem for us. Like, she was the least of our worries. She did what she needed to do.
She was just doing her daily thing. That's what she
does. And it was quite a magical thing to see. And I would have loved to see her see herself on screen. I would have loved to see her reaction to when, you know, she sees what we were doing. Because for her, it was all foreign anyway. She didn't really understand what we were doing. So to see her reaction would have been great. But she was amazing. She's one of my highlights.
But that's possible. So have you thought about doing a screening in Makoko?
I think she has. No, I think I'm sure she has. Because I think when Imole went to talk to them, that was one of the things that we'll show you the film. I'm just saying, I wish I was there to witness the film, just to see the look on her face.
Yeah.
And for you, Ego, any memorable moments in making of the film?
For me, I don't know, I can't pinpoint any particular thing, but because as I said, I was running from pillar to post most of the shoot, you know, trying to sort things out. But I think the Makoko scenes, because when I visited Makoko, it was so intense, you know, and I just thought, you know, I prayed every day that there would be nothing that went wrong, that no one would fall overboard, that we would all just do this shoot and come out of it in one piece. That was my own thing. So it was the Makoko, it was very intense, you know, because those narrow little they're not even streets, those narrow alleyways and, you know, the water when I went it was just impressive, just seeing that these people live here and they've made a life for themselves. And as Kabelo said, that young girl, you know, when you just think about all of this, because just listening to him now, I'm now thinking about, you know, that expression on her face. And as he said, her eyes, she was so calm, just so calm, doing what she does. And as he said, a million stories obviously there. But yeah, it was the Makoko scenes that were really memorable, you know, in a film that had almost every moment shooting it was memorable.
Okay, and any upcoming projects? Because it seems like all three of you, Akin and Kabelo, you like working together. So I'm assuming.
Hey, listen, I'm just waiting for the call. I'm ready. I'm always ready. I'm just waiting for the ring. I'm ready.
So do you have any upcoming projects, Ego?
I'm working on several things at the moment that were kind of disrupted with Madam Corona, but yeah, picking up now with things getting hopefully a bit more stable. I know Aki and Kabelo are still working together, so I might hitch on to one thing that they're doing, force myself there. But right now I'm just working on a couple of different things. Still very early stages, so yeah, I'll keep the world posted when I have more concrete news.
And Kabelo?
So yeah, Akin and I at the moment have a film that's in pre-production and coloring phase. So hopefully that will come out sometime this year. We in the process of finishing off our Netflix show that we're shooting, and now we're in Greece doing a very hush special project. So yeah, he's keeping me busy. He's getting his money's worth.
Okay. Let's see. Any other questions? Did we talk about the future of Nollywood? What do you see as the future of Nollywood? Because Nollywood, like most people know now, is, you know, the Nigerian film industry, and, you know, depending on who you speak to, they say it's either the second or largest producer of film in the world in terms of production. So what do you see the future of Nollywood to be? I mean, I think the answer is obvious, but I would just like your opinion. So what do you see the future of, where do you see the future of Nollywood going? Kabelo?
I mean, I think the future is bright for Nollywood. With the streaming platforms, a lot of work is being done. And I just see that when we started, we sort of went into some level of detail in terms of talking about what is happening with film on the continent. And I think Nollywood is all a part of that. I think it's bright. I think now, more than ever, the eyes of the world are upon us, and they're looking for stuff from us. So this is our time to, sort of get all those stories out there. Everyone is receptive. Everyone is excited. It's fresh. It's different, and the future is bright. I think the future is bright.
Yeah, and I think so. One thing about Nollywood is they've always produced like the most films. I think the difference now is that the caliber of films, are now they've upped the stakes a little bit. So now it's not just listen, let's make people laugh and whatever, and just shoot it whichever way. I think now, there's a lot more thought process in terms of what they want to deliver out. The quality of work, is the standard is up. The visual capturing of the films is beautiful, man. I think they're really chasing, the world stage, and they're doing a great job at it, because you look at Netflix, there's some beautifully shot films, and I think there's a lot more of those coming out. So yeah, it's on the up and up. The future is bright.
Yeah, but South Africa also has a huge film industry and produces a lot of wonderful stuff. But we don't really, I don't hear many conversations about the South African film industry.
I'm not gonna lie. Again, it's huge, and we do produce, some very amazing looking films and visually appealing. But even that, Nollywood literally, I think, blows us out the water in terms of the number of films that you guys put out.
We have the number.
On Netflix, I think there's way more Nigerian films on Netflix than there are South African films. And South Africa also, our industry is also, remember, sort of big on commercials. So we do a lot of commercials, and no one will ever see commercials because they come and go on TV. And then there's a lot of drama series that are obviously mostly just for South African TV, but Nollywood definitely makes a lot more films in South Africa. But the South African film industry obviously is there, and it's alive also. So
yeah, it definitely is. There are quite a few series on Netflix, like in Blood and Water.
Blood and Water did really great.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So, and there's other stuff. Seriously Single was
Seriously Single, the other one. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Seriously Single. Sorry, on Netflix.
No. Yeah. So a lot. Yeah, I think Africa again. So we've got to look at it as Africa. So we are all one, and it's Africa literally against the world, and that's how I see it. So if you win, I win. Africa wins, and that's the way it should be.
Okay, just last thing for me, inspiring words for upcoming filmmakers. Start with you, Ego. Waka Ego.
Oh, we said that already.
We've given all our inspiring words.
Sorry, I was doing something else. Okay.
We said all the inspiring words, yeah.
You said that already. So, Ose, anything else from you?
I'll just say I like what Kabelo said about, hey, if Ego wins, he wins. If Moji wins, I win.
Yeah, man.
So it's Africa to the world, and I think that we need to promote that mindset, and I think support one another, because at the end of the day, I think we know what division can do, and storytelling is the only real way to overcome many of the difficulties. Really, it's really telling the stories of humanity, and I think that that's what this film, The Ghost in the House of Truth, really does. And I really can't say enough about what I saw. So I thought it was a very moving film. I'm very inspired and happy, and I'm glad it was a part of our series. And we look forward to hosting you all in Atlanta, right, Moji?
Yeah.
Ready for the call.
Thank you.
We're the ones, we're doing the work, we're trying to make the connections.
Yes.
Africa is it right now. And just even this conversation is like, we're representing different parts of Africa. Look, there's Ghana, Chile, there's South Africa, there's Nigeria. So I'm excited because finally, like Ego said, we've been here. Hello, we've been here all this time. People have just finally realized that, oh, there's some folks in that part of the world that are doing stuff. So people are just catching up as to what we've been doing for a long time. So it's very exciting times. I think the music also helps, Afrobeats, because it took forever for Afrobeats to make it to America. It's been in Europe, it's been on that part of in the back part of the world. But as we know, America influences a lot of things, like this t-shirt says, Atlanta influences everything, kind of thing. So it took a while for it to get here. Now that it's here, people are just like, oh, you know, so it's exciting times. I think it's very exciting. You know, it's very exciting times. I'm excited just to be involved in making, even if it's just about bringing people together to have those conversations. That's how things happen. You know, that's how things happen. I think it's very important that, you know, one of my big things is that it's very important for African Americans and Africans on the continent to connect. There's so many untold stories. How many stories are there about the African American and African connection? There are barely any. I can only think of one. What, Roots and Fat Girls? Those are only two I can think of that actually explores the stories between these two different groups of people. So there's so many stories. I talk less of the continent, it's the stories from the continent, you know. So it's exciting times. I'm just excited to be alive to witness all of this. I thank you once again, Ego Kabelo, for you know, gracing us with your presence. And I'm going to close out. I thank the audience for coming. I know it was kind of early this morning, but given all the different time zones, you know, sometimes it's very difficult to coordinate these things and get a time that works for everybody. So it's recorded, so it can be viewed on our YouTube channel. Please tune in next month for our Women's History Month screening of films by and about African women. March 13th, we'll be screening the film Frontiers by Burkinabé director Apolline Traoré in partnership with Alliance Française and Atlanta Francophonie Festival. And then end of March, we should have another screening, which is yet to be confirmed. Follow us on all social media platforms at African Film Arts. And our website is africanfilmartsfoundation.org. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can watch all Q&A series that we've been working on over the last year. We've spoken to people from all over the African continent. It's been very exciting. And all I can do is thank you again. Do you have any last words? Anything you want to say before we go?
Africa, stand up.
Yes.
Thank you, Moji, and well done. I think, as you said, very important to have these conversations, and if it's to bring people together, it's always such a great idea. So thank you for having us, and thank you for screening our film. And thank you. It was wonderful to also meet you, Osei.
Likewise.
Kabelo, always nice to see you.
Listen, it's not over. Next time I come to Lagos, I'm coming to look for you.
Of course.
Of course.
No, seriously, come on. Let's do it.
I think those connections, it's like Amaka Igwe, man, I was so resting. I was so fortunate that I met her, I think the year before she passed. Because whenever I come to Nigeria, I just connect with people. I went to her house, spent probably the whole day there. I'm just like, I'm so happy I met this woman. Because every single person I talk to from Nollywood mentions her name. You know, so so rest in peace, and we dedicate this we dedicate this to her. So thank you again, everybody. Thank you, audience.
Thank you.
And thank you, Osei, for always supporting us. And I look forward to all of us connecting again in the future. Stay safe. And
stay safe.
After this whole Miss Rona thing going on.
Rona.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Thanks.